Hello again, and welcome to the Noble Father podcast. I am your host, Theophilus, and thank you for joining me. This is a podcast of passion, of a desire to want to release the things in my heart, as I see in fatherhood, as I live as a man, as I live as a Canadian, or even just in my journeys through life. And so, if you find yourself here for the first time, welcome to the podcast. This isn't my normal background. I'm at a friend's house here in Calgary. I'm still dealing with a bit of something in my body, and so you'll have to excuse me for the poor audio quality of this episode, and also for my coughing and what have you. So how did I end up in Calgary? We are on a little bit of a road trip. We were going to go eastward and see a friend in Winnipeg, which is more than halfway across the country, and we got as far as Vegreville. Vegreville is east of Edmonton, which is northeast of us here in Calgary, and we were supposed to continue our drive almost another 18 hours, and because we're driving an electric vehicle, it would have easily been 24, maybe 22 hours of driving, with the charging, and so we took a turn for the worse. So let me back up. We left our home, and headed up towards Jasper. We were looking to, actually no, we went to go see friends. Some friends of ours were camped in Hope, so we went to Hope, and they had a trailer that is set up there, and we ended up spending the night there. And that, getting there took us about an hour and a half, and so that took an hour and a half off of our trip. We spent the first night with them, and we had good time together, had fun, good talks, and then the next morning we departed for Jasper. Went up to Jasper, and charging all along the way, and then got ourselves situated in Jasper at a campsite there. And the reason we camped out in Jasper is because we wanted to see Jasper. We wanted to see the different we wanted to see this glacier that my wife had found. Apparently, it had mile markers of where it was, during a certain time of period. And so, 1902 was at this point, and then 1928 was at this point, 1935 was at this point, and you could just see the glacier, where the glacier was based on the time, and it was slowly be receding back. And you can look it up yourself if you're interested. It's Athabasca Glacier, Athabasca glacier, and it pretty much put year markers of where the glacier was as it started to recede. And so, whether you believe in climate change or something is going on, it's apparent, it's evident, that something caused this glacier to move backwards. I'm not saying I believe in all those things. I have no idea. I don't have the science to back up those things, but it was interesting to see. It's quite a hike for us to get from the parking lot, and it's interesting because even as you're driving to the parking lot, you see the yearly markers of the glacier being backed up. And we got up to the top of this hill, and the glacier it's still pretty far away. We couldn't walk to the glacier, but it was apparent. It just showed how much receded, how that glacier had receded over that time period. And so we went to go see that, and after we saw that, we had to go and charge, to get to our next destination, which was Drayton Valley, to go see our friend Perry, one of the fathers in my group. So we got to Jasper, charged up the vehicle, and interestingly, at this point, I was already starting to feel a little bit unwell. My head was pressurized. We were in a higher elevation, and my ear was not unpressurizing or depressurizing, and it wouldn't pop back after I popped it out to clear it, and so started to feel unwell. And about 30 minutes away from Drayton Valley, my wife took over. I was starting to really not feel good. And so we got to Drayton Valley, saw our friends, I was still kind of okay, you know, um, and we weren't intending to stay as long as we did in Drayton Valley. Um, but we ended up staying 3 days. I believe they're staying 3 days or 4 days there. Um, and we just spent the time being present with Perry. Perry was busy too. He was getting helping his brother-in-law with stuff, and so we, even though he was so busy, it was good that we got to enjoy that time together, be present with one another, and just spend good time together as a family and enjoy our time together. The whole time that I was there, it reminded me of the retreat, and the retreats. And what do I mean by retreats? Noble Father was founded on the idea that we would be intentional in our connections with people, and so not just holding online meetups, but also having and encouraging in-person meetups, to the point of also doing retreats. And so last year we went to Orlando. This year we're doing it in Maple Ridge, in Vancouver, where I live, and so the whole time that I was there, I found myself just like catching myself like I did whenever we were in Orlando last year, of like, wow, I can't believe this is real life. I can't believe this is what I do. I can't believe I'm here. Like there's no reason for me to ever be in Drayton Valley if not for a friend or for somebody that I know. And so, as I'm there, like there's no charger. We're having charging issues, and then I get sick, and so kind of inevitably forced to like be present and just be okay and be unattached to the result of needing to get to a certain other place. That's something that we do well as as a family in my own life as well. Is like I don't like being tied down with rigorous schedules. It stresses me out to no end when I have to be at a certain place by a certain time, or have to do a certain thing at a certain time, and it gets me really, it winds me up tight, and then I start to take it out on everybody else. And that's why whenever I have my conversations with my dad, like when I go on trips with my dad and plan things with my dad, he's, if there's a schedule, I really want to stick to it. Like I don't like disappointing people. I don't like showing up late to things that people are waiting for us on. I'm very open-ended. I really like open-ended. And so this kind of trip, to be able to just, oh, we're in Vegreville packing up our camping stuff. Do we want to continue on? No, we don't. Yes, does that mean we have to disappoint some people? Absolutely. But if we can't make it, better to not regret that decision as well, and just apologize and just say, hey, we can't make it to you. Luckily for us, we got friends who we can just call on and just say, hey, can we come and stay with you guys? And so the house that we're staying at, these friends are, have welcomed us in and say, hey, yeah, come over and stay with us. You've done it before in the past. We have space for you, no problem. And so we've cut our trip short, and so we came here. And just so happens, my wife is starting to feel a little bit unwell as well. And so, being able to do that, go on the fly, be present, and not be too attached to a situation or a scenario or how you want it to unfold, has enabled to, for us to enjoy this time. One of the things that the last episode I talked about Canada, right? And, because it was Canada Day, and I know that it was a day late to release this. I normally release on Mondays. I just wasn't able to do it yesterday. Doing a lot of driving, spending time with friends. Wasn't able to record a podcast yesterday. But like, it's crazy because, we got one province over, and, Alberta is, the province that we're in is Alberta. And Alberta is it's a more conservative province. And even then, you can see that there are things here that we are feeling back home in BC as well. And it's difficult sometimes. You don't see what others are going through. You don't feel what they're going through. But I feel it here just as much as they feel it, as we feel it in BC. I see it here just as we see it in BC. And this country has gotten too far gone, I feel. And I was literally just having a conversation with my friend Andy upstairs about this, of like, I don't anticipate the next government coming in to make much of a crazy change. At least not one that would negate the 9 years that we've had under Justin Trudeau. I think in 9 or 8 years. It's disheartening. It's incredibly scary. Because I got kids, I got children, and my friends, they have a kid, and so, like, what do we do? What is? How do you reconcile that? How do you think through that? How do you get to a place of hope? Obviously, in my heart, I know as a God-fearing man that Jesus is going to come back one day, and things get worse before that happens. They don't get better before that happens, and so, there shouldn't be any optimism of any man-made solution to these man-made situations. Everything that we're facing now in our day and age is a byproduct of man's decisions, man's sin, man's rebellion. And that's not something that man can fix. I don't think any government, no matter how competent, can fix the problems that we're dealing with as a nation now. And that's sad. And that doesn't give us much hope. But that is what it is what it is. That's just what it is. If anything, as a Christian, you kind of hope it gets worse almost, right? Because then God's coming back. We have that assurance that He's returning, and I look forward to that. Also gives me that urgency, right? Of like friends and family who don't believe in God or don't follow Him or don't know how to test the things of this world. I feel like that's been a conversation in my heart recently of like, we need to be able to test. We need to be able to test the things that we see in the world, the things that the world tries to preach to us. We need to be able to test those things. How do we test? If we don't know how to test, we will be very easily deceived. And when truth is fluid, like the society wants to tell you, that truth is fluid. Truth is what this person feels, or what that person feels, or what the government tells you. If you have no way to test that, it would be so easy to fall for anything, right? What's the common saying, right? Believe in nothing, fall for anything. That's what everybody's living in nowadays. Crazy story. We went to the West Edmonton Mall. If you don't know what that is, it's Canada's biggest mall, pretty much, and it's been the biggest mall for a long time before Dubai took over that title. It's got a giant wave pool inside, and so upon entry into this wave pool, there's a shoe room where they encourage you to take off your shoes so you don't walk into the locker room area with your shoes on, taking in all these diseases, what have you. And so me, my son, and my daughter, we take off our shoes, put it into the cubby holes, take off our socks, put it into the cubby holes, and we go change and go swimming. When we come back out and we're dressed and we're coming back to our shoes, I'm putting on my kids' shoes, and then I go to put on my shoes, and lo and behold, my socks are gone. Somebody had taken my socks. I'm looking around for them, I don't see them. In a different cubby hole, I see somebody else's socks just sitting there. I don't know if it was wet, I didn't touch it. It looked dirty. But somebody had stolen my socks. And I don't know, like I've never, Canada's gotten to the point where, just yesterday, seeing a video of some road rage altercation at a gas station. The video starts with, on the side, somebody's, these kids are, throwing things at a Jeep, and this guy runs up and, hits one of the side view mirrors on a Jeep. And the video pans to the driver's side, and the driver's side, there's a guy there standing, and he comes running out with like a full-on axe, and he runs up to the vehicle that, the guys came out of, and he just starts going to town. think he took 2 whacks at the car, smashed the window on one, and then goes back to his vehicle, backs up, and then just leaves. We're dealing with stuff like that, like road rage incidents, right? People pulling out knives on other people. You got car thefts running out of control now. Now, car insurance is going up because car thefts have gone up. We're dealing with crazy amounts of immigration into the country, like unbelievable, like all over. It's just everything. There's so many things in our country now that is going wrong, and like I said, this isn't a political podcast by any means. But as a noble father living in Canada, my children who are Canadian, it's very scary. It's disheartening, and it comes back to this liberal playbook. The liberal playbook that just I don't know what it is. It's so backwards, kind of, some of the decisions that are being made. Everything's going up in price. Like, my wife went to go buy some stuff for sandwiches, and she's looking at all the stuff that she has, and she's like, wow, this all costed $44 just to buy bread, 2 packs of ham, cheese, salad, and 2 drinks. Like 7 items. The total was $44. And my wife was just blown away by how expensive it's gotten. And we're just at that point. It's getting harder for people, and more difficult. And so, I don't have any solutions. I didn't really know what to talk about on today's podcast. Just been very present on this trip. And so, yeah, I don't really have anything I wanted to share kind of out of it still. You can hear my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather still. But learning to be present and being unattached to a certain result, and just enjoying our time together, right? Like we say, 18 summers, right? It's something that always gets reiterated in our meetups, is that we're not promised tomorrow. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. And so we have to be present, enjoy, right? If you're able to go, take that time and to just be present and just disconnect. My kids didn't bring any screens. We didn't, and my kids haven't asked. And so they've just been able to enjoy their time with their friends and just be present. And my kids have not asked about the screens, which is crazy. I'd encourage you to do that. Find the time, find the opportunity. Oh, you want to go camping? Hey, pack a tent. Go take your kids out. Even if it means going to the backyard and pitching a tent and sleeping in there. Whatever it takes for you to be present with your kids, go and do it. Because we're not promised this. This might be the last year we get to do this. The last time we came here was 2 years ago. And that might not ever happen again. We don't know. And so that is my encouragement to you. Don't wait too long. And thank you for joining me for this episode. We don't know what next week's going to look like. I don't know when we'll be home. I do have the fathers coming in less than a month. I'm very much looking forward to that. And just like that, we don't have anything scheduled or planned or anything for that. For one, can't really plan something when you don't really know what's going to happen. And so just trusting in God, really just giving that time to Him. But really, it's never failed us. When we went to Orlando, we didn't have a schedule. We didn't have a rigorous routine. And yet we just ran with it. And it was just an amazing time together. Dan was like, hey, let's go here. Went to go check it out. Amazing time. Oh, let's go eat at a gas station. Eat at a gas station. A great time. And that's what's going to happen again this year. And so if you're looking for that kind of community for yourself, for a father that you know, definitely reach out to us. You can go check it out. Actually, I have a landing page that's been still working on it. It's in progress, but it's already open, and you can go check it out. It's noble-father.com. You can go check it out there. I may or may not release an audio version of this podcast because I am on the road and I got to do everything on my computer, on my phone, and I just won't have the same resources as I do. And so you will notice a bit of a difference. And, I don't like to get out of my routine, but I kind of didn't have a choice. And so thank you for understanding that. I do look forward to being back on the regular setup and sharing the regular updates with you guys. Thank you for being on this journey with us. We're going to continue to be present. Hope you guys enjoy this week coming up. And hey, don't forget to share this episode with your friends who may benefit from it. Share any of the episodes that you've had in the past that you found helpful with your friends and your family. Thank you for being with me on this journey, really, through 2.5 years of it now. It's been a wonderful journey. Thank you for being with us, and take care.